It's really quiet. Except for the white noise in the background.
Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock 18 right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Now, it's Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific. I'm Chris of the Northwest, and we're here to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the world. So, while you're wondering where to get that new tattoo, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
Not another tattoo, babe. Not another tattoo. The best place I think to get a new tattoo is on your ex-girlfriend.
Oh,
I'm just guessing. I don't know. Never had a tattoo. Never interested in me. But tonight we're talking about something really interesting. We're talking with CRS98 about the Washington Coast Adventure Lab series. And as always, live audience. Oh, I don't even have to tell you, but I'll tell you. Chime in because we want to hear from you because you guys make the show make it fantastic. Otherwise, you're just stuck with us hosts, and how fun would that be?
not a lot.
I know. So, it is Thursday night, 9 p.m. I'm Wits End, and it's time to bring in our adventurous ape. Some say he took his second cousin to prom. And others say he's got a trick knee that'll predict the weather more accurately than a meteorologist. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
That was a very bizarre introduction.
I just read what I'm told.
We scraping the bottom of the barrel now? Is that what's going on?
Well, I am here, so yeah.
Oh, no. Hey, you are here. I am here. Chris is here. Cliff is here. It's a party. All right.
Party.
Yeah, it's a podcast party.
It's
We bring it down the internet.
Thursday.
Heard we had an archive party while I was away. That's pretty cool.
You weren't invited?
No, well,
He was the one being archived.
How rude.
The first
Oh, there you go. That's Archive Land Monkey. No, that's not. That's not.
All right.
We'll keep him around.
I appear to still be here, so no, we
That's
haven't
good.
archived Land Monkey.
That's good.
Awesome. Well, Thursday night, glad to be here with my friends. And I am really looking forward to learning more about the Washington Coast AL series. So, Cliff, thanks for joining us tonight and being willing to share about this.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
Good to have you here. Well, and before we jump into all of that, well, you know what it's time for, guys.
Do tell.
No.
It's
What?
time for a quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. And a thanks to Landsharks, one of our corporate Denali level sponsors. Now, folks, if you are interested in BC or anywhere in Canada maps, those are things that you can check out either electronically or on paper at Landsharks. You can buy them online. You can check them out. So, check out all the maps and such that they have at Landsharks online to buy and have shipped to you. But also, Landsharks wanted me to remind you that GeoWoodstock is coming. This is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock. And if you are interested in signing up and getting all the extra swag and
why wouldn't you be?
And the lunch and all the cool stuff that comes with registering for the event, if you will attend, awesome, thank you. But if you would like to register to support the event and make sure you don't miss out on all the cool stuff, well, check out geowoodstock.com and see what options are there that work for you. All right. So not only that, but
There's more?
There's more.
Wow.
Let's ring in our other corporate Denali level sponsor, and that is Gold Country Geotourism, one of my favorite places to go and explore. And encourage you to go visit exploregoldcountry.com to learn more about the Geo Tour and the region. And hey, if you're curious, you've heard about this and you're like, what's this gold country all about? You want to see a little bit what this gold country is all about, what it has to offer? Check out my throwback tour day, or however the heck I spelled it this week. And we do a hike up to the Cornwall Hills Lookout. And so you can watch a little video and see just what gold country has to offer for us geocachers. Awesome adventures, memorable adventures, and a beautiful place to go. So exploregoldcountry.com, or on Facebook, Explore Gold Country, all one word. And then, of course, their social medias, which are also Explore Gold Country. And so,
if you're watching live, you can just look over Land Monkey's shoulder there. It's right behind him there.
Or
It's like Gold Country.
There you go. Same
Right
thing.
there.
Well, and folks, if you want to know more about supporting this show, we encourage you to click that Patreon link on the cachingNW.com, a website.
And with that, a website introduction. Well, and pass off to me. It's time for the glow. What is the glow, you may ask?
What is the glow?
I'm so glad you asked. It's the geocaching log of the week. Whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. Send an email or a recording to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can call into 253-693-TFTC and show us just how you glow.
And this week, we're hearing about how clever cachers glowed for GC9P9E8. That's 9 Papa 9 Echo 8. Luke Skywalker. This could be interesting. The log says, by the time I noticed the email about this cache publishing, it was already 35 minutes old. I didn't get an alert in my phone. I've heard of others having this same issue as of late. And I briefly considered not going for the new cache, given my responsibilities and someone was likely already there. But what if no one was? I left in haste, not checking if I had geocaching gear and forgetting my glasses. Again. Whoops. I didn't check where the cache was either. I jumped in the car and trusted my journey to Google Maps this time. Like Waze last time, that was dumb. Google Maps wanted me to drive to a busy intersection and wait forever to make a left turn. When I also saw flashing lights in the intersection, I did a 3-way turn and drove out a different way. You know, as one does. Google Maps quickly recommended a new route. Oh, it likes to do that when I drive. Like a moth to a flame, I took the bait. That was dumb again. Google Maps kicked me out on a different arterial, but it wasn't long before I was stuck behind a stopped school bus for several minutes. Ugh. When it was all clear to go and I wound through a few neighborhoods, well, Google Maps kicked me out on a different arterial that I could have gotten to via a more direct route and faster on my own. Ugh. Again. I wasn't at all familiar with the park where Google Maps brought me. At first, I thought Google Maps was playing more Jedi mind tricks on me. I was in a cul-de-sac, and I didn't see a park. This is not the park I'm looking for. Then I saw a sliver of a trail leading into a wider area. Now, however, before I got out of the car, I saw several people wandering around the vicinity of the sliver trail. So, there were cachers already here. Okay, at best I might get a co-FTF. I'll still take it. As I got out of the car and rushed over without checking the car for geocaching gear, I found out that they were not cachers, but rather workers at the house next door. Phew. I switched the phone back to the geocaching app's navigation mode and found myself, surprisingly, about 14 feet away from the cache. No cachers here, and I'm 14 feet away. I've got this. Wrong again. 1 second the cache was 14 feet away. The next, it was 30 feet away. The coordinates were extremely jumpy despite moving slowly and having limited tree cover. I let the navigation guide me for another couple of minutes. However, it was just jumping around too much. At least it narrowed ground zero down to 2 or maybe 3 areas to search. I turned the navigation off and turned my geosenses on. My geosenses were asleep, broken, or just temporarily unavailable. Oh, this is me. To top it off, all of the areas had ivy, which is never a fun search without gloves. I prodded around with a stick, searching a few areas twice until I eventually spotted Luke Skywalker in deep meditation. I didn't disturb him, but I did pickpocket his log, sign it, and return it. When I left, he was still in deep meditation. I love the container. I can imagine a whole series of these displayed on a shelf. The more printed containers we see, the more we tell ourselves that we really need to get a 3D printer and hide some more caches. I hear there might be a souvenir in that. Second one of 3, and we 4 Fullers, thank you for making a March FTF possible, for delighting us with this awesome series of Star Wars caches, for bringing us to Wedgwood Park, which was new to us, and for continuing to make the game fun. Thanks for the hide, and, well, may the Force be with you always.
Oh, nice Star Wars fade out there. That was well done.
Absolutely.
Could you, Wits End, bring up the glow badge once again?
Well, I
Whatcha? Hey, we have a new listener and wants to know what this glow thing is. I like the badge.
Oh,
So,
there you go.
There you go. In order to get your own glow badge, you have to send in a glow-worthy log. Now, it doesn't have to be long. There have been some short ones that we just laugh at. The one I remember is my wife was telling me it wasn't in the right spot. I wasn't in the right spot. I wasn't. And, that right there, glow-worthy.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be long. It just has to be good and something that I think we can relate to. So send in your glow-worthy log. You can send it into feedback@CachingNW, or even better yet, call into 253-693-TFTC. And show us how you glow.
And here I was just thinking the glow referred to my head. So
Well, I can relate, but mine's back here. Yeah. But yeah, the geocaching log of the week, by all means, send yours in. Yeah. Otherwise, you have to listen to me read it.
Minimag also asked, is it a log I write or one that was posted on my cache? It can be either of those, as Brylang is saying in the chat, or one that you've read that you just thought, hey, that's pretty cool.
Because, whether you wrote it or read it, geocaching, a great log simply make geocaching better. I've heard that somewhere.
Wow.
All right. May I clear my screen now, sir?
Oh, yes, please.
Sir, turn your key. Yes, sir, turn your key.
I must ask you to turn your key.
Wow. The wipes and fades. I'm telling you.
Isn't it great?
My
so there
life
you
is
go.
Fading before my eyes.
In case anybody else is wondering, just send in a great log. We don't care if you wrote it. We just want to know, well, if you read it, it could be on your cache. It could be on somebody else's cache. It could be the one log you read that helped you to find that cache that you were having trouble with, right?
Yeah, or it could be the log that you read that made you laugh so hard you almost peed yourself.
Yeah, or it could be
had milk come out your nose.
Yeah.
Sure. Or it could also be one of those situations where you say, that's an all right log, but not any of my business.
I once saw Chris pass an entire cheese sandwich out his nose.
Oh, it wasn't easy.
To make you do it, then that's worth it. Yeah.
Well, you know what? We want to get talking to Cliff, not about cheese sandwiches coming out your nose, but actually about that really cool trail all the way down the coast. So But before we get to that, we're just got a little bit more news. So let's run through this news so we can talk about geocaching. I mean, the news has to do with geocaching as well. But so for those who may not have heard yet, continuing with the theme of Year of the Hide from Geocaching HQ, they are offering a 2022 Hider souvenir. That's right. You get a souvenir
Wow.
for hiding a geocache.
No.
Yeah.
That's almost as cool as a glow badge.
It's almost as cool as a glow
Yeah.
badge. But I mean, come on. Glow badge, bar is set pretty high there. All right. So yes, in January, HQ announced that it is the Year of the Hide, and from a cache hider checklist to cache owner resolutions, to how to pick a great cache location. They've shared all kinds of great resources already, and for the purpose of helping you plan a quality geocache hide. Well, if you hide a cache between March 1st and December 31st of 2022, you will get a souvenir.
So you don't have to wait because March 1st has already passed.
It
And
has.
December 31st hasn't come yet.
Hasn't come yet. So get out there and get hiding.
It's souvenir time. But quality over quantity.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? If you have a cache that not a lot of people are finding, maybe it's time to refresh that and see if you can come up with something just a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like GSM times 2. I must be channeling him tonight. Where is he?
Hmm.
Anyway,
In
Hey,
the chat,
if
probably.
yeah, that probably. If you want to add to tonight's show, use the hashtag. Now, we're trying to figure out how we should pronounce this. It's WCAS. That could be Wakas. That could be Wakase.
Isn't that the sound it makes when you whip?
Yes. Wackas.
There
Could be
you go.
wackus.
Wackus?
I don't know.
That's wax. Yeah. Use WCAS for the hashtag to add something to tonight's show, and we'll have CRS98 talk about it. Of course, use the hashtag FATAS to bring something up in the after show. And use the hashtag podcast baking to tell us what you've got cooking.
Ooh. We do like the bakings. Yeah. All right. Now I'm hungry.
Go
Wonder
bake
what,
something.
wonder what Monkey Cakes is baking tonight. Well, Cliff, CRS98, welcome. It's
Thank you.
awesome to have you here. We see you in the chat quite a bit, but it's great to see your smiling mug here on the podcast in the grid. So perhaps, maybe, there's a listener out there or two that's not familiar with you. Could you share a little bit about maybe where you're from, how you got started in geocaching, and anything else you feel inclined to share with us?
Well, I grew up in southeastern Idaho and moved out to the Seattle area in 1987 to go to graduate school at the University of Washington, and never left. So I've been here for much longer than I was ever anywhere else. Now live in the suburb of Linwood, just north of Seattle, and have been here for a number of years. In terms of starting in geocaching, I started when my dad, who lived in Wyoming at the time, he'd gone down with his wife, my stepmother at the time. They'd gone to some party in Fort Collins, Colorado, and he'd run into some geocachers that had found like 1,400 finds, and got all excited about it. And he thought that just sounded like a lot of fun. And at the time, he was living in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming. I always say that to get to his place, you went to the middle of nowhere, hang a left, you got 30 miles to go. And he said, well, there's no way there's going to be any geocaches close to his place. And he pulled up the website and he found there's one a couple of miles away, and there's another couple of miles away from that, because they're everywhere, right? And so anyway, he went and found it, and he thought it was so much fun. And so we got to talking on the phone, and he talked to me about it. And I had a GPS, and I really hadn't ever used it, because what do you do with a GPS if you don't geocache at the time? I mean, these are the old handheld Garmin's, right? And so I had maps on it, but I'd never done anything really with it other than kind of taking it on a trip down to Mexico once, just so I could kind of find my way around a little bit. But I found out that there were like eight geocaches within a mile of my house or something like that. It was like, what? Are you kidding me? And so I went and found the first one on a guardrail just down the street from here. And there has not been a 9-day stretch since then that I haven't found one. So
Wow.
I've been hooked ever since.
I've got you beat there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things that you just kind of just enjoy. And I've been geocaching ever since 2008.
Nice.
Impressive. Well, we certainly appreciate you coming on the show tonight, and not just because you've been geocaching at least every 9 days for all these years. But that might just be a reason in and of itself. But we want to talk about let's do this, the Washington Coast Adventure Series. Now, WCAS.
Yes.
Could you explain a little what it is? Why is it the Washington Coastal?
So this kind of all started when I was watching this show, shocking, and you had on GSM times 2, who's I've seen him active in the chat tonight, so he's here watching, and he talked about some of the great adventure series that he's put together, and in particular, I think that particular one that he was talking about was the California Route 1 adventures.
Okay.
And I just was fascinated by it, and I really kind of wanted to go do it. I listened to another podcast a little bit after that, where some people had actually gone and done some of it, and they really enjoyed it. And I thought, you know what, we're going to take a little bit of a vacation. We're going to actually go spend some of our vacation during COVID, where we really can't do anything in terms of like flying back east or out of the country. This is one way we can go spend some time and do that. So we thought that would be a good, fun way to spend some time, and we really enjoyed it. And I kind of already thought about the idea that this really shouldn't stop at the northern end of California Route 1, and so I kind of had pitched that idea when I got back to Jeff Gear Guru, who's works at HQ, and said, we really should keep this going. And he said, I completely agree. And so I was kind of interested in it, but I said, I have no idea how to, contact anybody in Oregon or anything to let them do it. But he certainly has contacts there, and he had contacted, I think it's Emily Densmore, if I remember her name right. Anyway, she had done, she had set up that part for the Oregon Coastal Adventure Series. And so she had started getting those together, and they've been working on publishing those over the last little bit. And we had started kicking off the idea here. And when I'd talked to GSM times 2 several times, and Scott had said, hey, look, here's a lot of, things that I've done. And he was very, very helpful in being able to set this up. And as we were going through a lot of those ideas, one of the things that I decided I wanted to do was have county coordinators, rather than try and, coordinate 31 individual people, try and say, okay, all these different people. That's just a lot of people. You can only do so much cat shepherding, right? So
yeah.
I needed some help. So that was the way I decided I would do it, is just to break it up into counties and try and find different people to help me organize each of the counties. And so that was the first step. And one of the people that I had organized for the counties, I don't remember exactly who it was at the time, said, I would really prefer to have these all go live at once. And rather than have this repeated trips, because of course the Washington coast is a long ways from most, particularly out on the edge, it's a long ways from a lot of places.
Yeah.
And it just seems like you're constantly making another trip and yet another trip and another trip out there. And it ends up eating into the gas mileage. And so what they would really kind of like to do is just kind of make one trip and just kind of just meander down there and take your time to do it all. And I thought that was a great idea. But what that really meant is that we really had to kind of hold our horses on some people, and as we were trying to find other people to fill out some of those voids that are difficult spots to reach, right? So some of those spaces out in far Grays Harbor County, or there's a stretch of Jefferson County that's really, really pretty out there by Kalaloch. It's got the trees of life and the great Washington beaches out there on the Olympic National Park. It's gorgeous, but nobody lives there, right? So how are you going to get somebody to try and step up and be able to say, yeah, I'll take that on? And it's difficult for a lot of people to say, okay, I'll go ahead and do that. So, and then, when we finally have reached some of those people and say, okay, we're going to set the deadline for February 28th, which I think we had found people that had agreed they would start on these by the end of December. And we said, okay, we'll give, no more than 2 months for everybody to place it. And if you're not done, we're going to go live then, because it's not fair to everybody to hold these things, for months and months and months, waiting for the last few stragglers to kick in. Just say, okay, this is the go live date. Please try and get it live if you done by then, if you can. And on February 28th, we went live, right? And there were 28 out of the 31 that were ready at that time. There will be another one that should be done on Monday, so it'll be 29. And I think there's a 30th that should be ready within another 2 weeks. I'm not so sure about the 31st yet. So we're very, very close to being completely done already at the launch, which I think was really amazing. And you just got to give a huge amount of credit to all these people that created the labs. I mean, they did a lot of work trying to get out, multiple trips for a lot of people to go drive out, to Forks and drive out to other places that were just like, okay, I'm going to go drive out and do this, scout out the locations. So they come back and it's like, wait a minute, I missed some places. I need to go get some more information to go back and make a second trip and things like that. So it's a lot of work to go do it, but people were doing it with gusto. So it was a lot of fun.
Nice. I don't think anyone is near Neah Bay. I think that's a destination drive for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, and to be fair, we didn't go up to Neah Bay, and that was kind of an intentional decision, partially because trying to get permissions from the tribe wasn't necessarily clear. So we just and it's also there's other issues that have to do with just saying, okay, this is already a very long trip. You kind of want to make it into a route. And that trip out to Neah Bay is a one-way trip. And so, that's a long ways to drive and then not have stuff to do on the way back. So I was willing to have one side trip that we did do out to La Push from Forks, which is, not that far of a drive. And, out there at the very coast at La Push, I mean, that's a gorgeous area, right? So that's, I think, something that's worth doing in and of itself. And it's not that far out. And we put just one extra adventure series out that direction. I should say that each of these adventures is up to 10 labs, right? So these are not 5 adventures each. They're 5 locations each. They're each up to 10. So of the 28 that have been published so far, there's 263 locations that are available along the way. So there's a lot of spots to be able to do this. One of the things that you need to understand is, this is not a power trail of adventures, right? These things take a lot more work to go solve than just finding another rock, another thing that just looks the same. And then you go another 512 feet and find another one and do that. I always
sometimes too agrees with you.
Yeah.
This is a lot more work than an LPC.
Yeah, both the hiding and the finding.
Yeah. When I was doing the California Route 1, I think we could do maybe 50 locations a day, maybe 60 between my wife and I. We would do that, and we'd get a couple of caches, but it was almost exclusively just doing the adventures, and that kind of depended on what section you were at. I mean, there were some that were harder to get that many, and there were others that were were easier to get that many.
Sure.
If some of the sections are a lot more driving in between them, and others are like, hey, look, you park here and you walk a mile before you get one location. Okay. And that location was, out at the end of a long walk to a lighthouse. It was gorgeous. It was absolutely worth the trip. It's why you do geocaching. It's these expected great places. And, maybe there's a geocache out there as well, but it's the places that you want to go. And that's the same, what I asked the creators to do as we went through this process, is to say, look, here's the rough places that you want to go for, along the overall highways and side roads that we wanted to go through. But I want you to find the 10 best locations that you can in the area that you've been assigned, right? Don't find, some guardrail that just has a sign on it because it's at the side of the road. You find the 10 best spots that you can take people to. That's where I want you to take people places. So hopefully that's what happened. So obviously, this having just been published, I haven't been able to go visit any of them yet myself. So other than my own, I can't really say what they're like yet, but I'm looking forward to doing it myself soon.
Nice. I'm trying to find how long Highway 1 is. Obviously, it's as long as the state is tall, and a little more as it wraps around. So
Yeah, I think Highway 1 is a longer by far than what we have in Washington. We have a website that we I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But the website, we suggest that people take a minimum of 3 days to do this, right? And I think when I first brought up Google Maps and said, okay, here's the route from the Astoria Bridge all the way up to the Peace Arch, and just the basic route, I think Google Maps said it was a 9-hour drive, right?
Wow.
There's no way you're going to do this. I mean, I think it's at least 3 days to be able to find all these adventures minimum. And that's if you're really pressing hard on it. And, if you want to find, find geocaches, or you want to find lunch,
you want to stop to eat, fill up with gas. Yeah. Wow. So over this huge stretch of highway from the Oregon border to the Canadian border, you said there was 31 adventure labs of up to 10 stops each.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. Yeah. And you mentioned that you didn't do this by yourself. You've got a great team behind you, and it sounds like you've coordinated and laid it out well for, you've got your regional leaders to help fill in all the gaps and manage. Nice. Yeah. So I just bring up my own list here. The T.W. Lair, who I know has been on the show several times. She was the county coordinator for Whatcom County. Milo's People is the county coordinator for Skagit County. Couch Crew was the county coordinator for Island County. Seebeck Tribe is the county coordinator for Jefferson County. Yellow 1961 was the county coordinator for Clallam County, and Cool Cow Cachers was county coordinator for Grace Harbor County, and GeoBoater was the county coordinator for Pacific County. So I just wanted to mention them all by name because I think they all did a great job of just trying to, shepherd their own set of cats, right? So I completely agree. They deserve the recognition.
Yeah, had a lot of familiar names there for local caches, so that's great.
You mentioned a website, and we'll share it here on screen. Of course, we will share the link as well. Let me, I had that open and now I've lost it. Give me just a moment. But this website that you have, tells a little bit about the whole project, shows a map of the current stops, the current locations, and down here there's a great Seahawks colored list. I noticed that of
that may have been intentional. Yes.
Of all the adventures by county. So well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
And the you can see the 3 adventures that are missing there are the ones that are in that one little gap out there on the far Olympic coast. And as soon as those are published, I'll add them to the list, and you'll be able to update the map as they go in there. So,
Land Monkey, thank you for putting that in the chat there. wacoastadventures.org. And Land Monkey, you're muted if you wanted to say you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Wow, that was moving.
Yeah, wasn't it? Oh, Wits End. That completely covers you up. I'm sorry.
That's perfect. I've never looked better.
You were on TV.
Wazowski.
Now, if somebody wanted to start on this series of adventure labs, where would you suggest starting?
That depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to do them all, you can start at one end and try and just do the whole series and go through start at Blaine and go south, or you can start in at the Astoria Bridge and go north. I think most of us don't have 4 or 5 days that you're going to say, you know what, I think I'll go do this. And I think a lot of people are more likely to say, you know what, I'm just going to go take a day and go knock off a few. So I know people that are just going to say, I'm going to go do this section. And I think that's what most people around here are going to do. Now, come GeoWoodstock and that week between GeoWoodstock and the 20th anniversary celebration, 20th, 22nd, whatever.
Yeah, whatever it
ends
is.
up being. That's going to change, right? Because you got a week to kill, and this is a good way to do that, right?
Yep.
And I think it'll take you to some of the best places in the state that we have in terms of just scenic beauty. And obviously there's a lot of side trips that you can do up into the Olympic National Park, and this takes you down to Oregon, and that's a quick trip from there over to the original Stash Plaque, and it's just a good way to go spend some of that time that you've got in between to in between the events and do some good geocaching stuff and have a good time. So
nice. Now, CRS98, do you know if there's anybody that's going to pick up Highway 1 in Oregon? I mean, we've got California, we've got Washington. Now,
yeah, actually, it's already there. Yeah,
Okay.
The Oregon Coastal Adventure Series is already in. I don't think it's completed, but the Oregon Coastal Adventure Series. In fact, actually, we've coordinated in the name. The OCAS and the WCAS were given that name intentionally. So, they've actually started releasing them. They didn't go live all at the same time, so they've been releasing them as they go out. So.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. How long have you been working on this?
I think I started last September, maybe August. Maybe August is kind of the idea when I came up with the name, but September is when I got serious about working on it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really amazing.
So there's a question from Scott. There are exactly one ferry involved in between the Port Townsend and Coupeville. So.
Okay, so that's going to be up here.
How's your zooming? There we go.
Yeah.
Right in here.
There you go.
Am I right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's even
How was that?
displayed on the map there.
See?
Very well done.
See? I knew what I was doing. Shh, don't tell anybody. Nice. Skyhawker wants to know, did I miss this? There are only 31 listed, but in the list, but many more on the map.
So what you're seeing, Skyhawker, on the map is those are all the locations, the individual locations for where they are. Each of those is a spot where you have to go to answer a question, not the pin that you would see to say where they're at. So there's each one of those is one of the 10 locations that might be on an individual adventure lab.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And some right through here are going to be fantastic.
Yeah, so that's the Elwell River Valley.
Yep.
That one's GS Barnes did that one, I remember. So
That's a beautiful area.
Yeah, my wife and I went through here. Oh, was it last year, 2 years ago? Yeah, fantastic.
And that one right there is the one that I did right in that area. So
Around Sappho?
Yeah, up to Sappho. Part over there is I think it was Lay Trap that did that one just from Sappho down to Forks, and then JT Coffee did the one in Forks. So she's got a vampire theme one there. I know. So
I was going to say, is it Twilight themed?
It may be. Yeah.
Yeah. It might have to be, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It might be fun anyway.
If JT Coffee did it, it's going to be really good.
Well, that's true. Yes. Yes. You can rule it.
And you'll have to have a notebook.
Forget the vampire aspect. Just go because JT Coffee hit it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think Trexer is reading our show notes because he wants to know, are there additional resources on the website that are valuable, including bookmark lists and highlight caches?
Why, Trexer, yes. Shockingly, yes. If you click that resources tab, there's a lot of really useful things to get there. So the first thing you can see there's the GPX file. So for those of you who use things like GSAC or other programs that you have where you can use download a GPX file, that's a GPX file that has all of the locations into it, right? So you actually can just load that up and you have all of the locations right there, all the information that you can just do that. The next thing down, if you just scroll down there a little bit on that you can see that there is a cache WCAS, the cache tour bulk import file. So one of the things that for people who want to start using this is just a text file that allows you to load these locations into Cache Tour directly, right? So if you are a Cache Tour user, it allows you to just say, hey, look, there's a bulk import list, and you can say these are the ones that I want to go to, or all 263 of them are there, listed in order from north to south, or in kind of in generally of the list there, and you just copy the ones out that you want to use and say, okay, I will put those into Cache Tour and use those as I can route them, right? Because I don't know about you, but Cache Tour is the thing that I use to go geocaching with pretty much almost exclusively in terms of routing anymore, because it's just so good at being able to tell me where I need to go.
Yeah, I was going to add, if you're not a Cache Tour user, you should check it out.
Yeah, right.
Well, and you've taken all the work out of it here for us.
Yeah.
You download a file, import it, you're done. It will route for you, and off you go.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the first step, was just to give you the tools to be able to say, this is where you want to go. And now let Cache Tour do the work of saying, because you can then add whatever other geocaches or lunch stops or whatever else thing you want to do in Cache Tour, and that's easy enough to do. And then you say, okay, here's what I want to do, and it'll say, okay, here's how to get there. Right. The next step down is, like you can see, caches along a route. So I have created routes that Terrible Tease has is gratefully just kind of tested to make sure these are all work. So on geocaching.com, if you have the ability to create these caches along a route. So I created the routes so that you can then just create, these are all public in the directory. So if you just clicked on one of those, you can say, hey, I'm going to do the caching in Whatcom County, and I want to do these labs. I want to find out what other geocaches are along the way. I can create the caches along a route feature and just add that right into my list. Right. So those are all there for you, for people to use as well.
That's impressive.
So it allows you to just say, okay, this is just makes it easy for people to go caching. I figure anything I can make it easier for you to do to go find geocaches, that's what I wanted to do as part of this. And then the last part there is the bookmark list. And so the bookmark list there, I also broke these up in a couple of different sections. So the first one is aiming for people who are going to come in for, GeoWoodstock, or for people who are coming for the 20th anniversary celebration. So these are, the first two things are Washington's oldest caches. So people who are looking for Jasmer grids, you're going to want to look at that first bookmark list. I have one of these actually also for BC, although it's not listed on there. In Oregon, I actually have one for California, various other states as well. But for Washington, I said, okay, I'll put this on the list. All caches from 2000 to 2001, if you just want to know where they're at. And so you can take a look and say, okay, I need to target that one, even though it's not like on this list. You can look at it here so you can find it. Then there's Washington's, most favorite caches, which is everything with 100 favorite points or more. Last time I updated this was, December 29th. I'll need to update it every now and again, but that's obviously another thing that people are going to be interested in. Rare caches in Washington, people want to look at webcams or old virtuals, not the new ones, but the ones that are older that you can't find very often anymore. So those are ones that people kind of want to target oftentimes. So I want to put those on the list. And then I broke it up by counties, and I said, okay, in the county, I wanted to say every county that you're driving through on this particular thing, I'll put everyone that has at least 50 favorite points or was from, and at least the oldest cache, or anything that was from 2000 or 2001 is in that bookmark list for that county, right? So there you have a chance to say, okay, I'm going to go here. What should I look for, right?
Right. I can do the adventure lab, but I can also get some of these great older caches.
Exactly.
That are worthwhile.
Yeah.
Wet Coaster, and I'm sure prodded by our very own land monkey, wants to go, what? No Earth cache list?
Who's to say that Earth caches aren't in a very large number of the favorites?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm a huge Earth cache fan, as land monkey well knows. So, it's there are definitely Earth caches on the list.
Well, this page has incredible resources that is worthwhile just to go and look at it just for the great come on, Chris, caches along a route and bookmark list. That's the word I was looking for. Let's see. There was here. Keats wants to know any advice you can give for the T-Chows. That's the Trans-Canada Highway Adventure Lab series cruise to the north. What challenges did you run into during the creation of this series?
I think the biggest challenge that I ran into was, again, finding people to go do those caches that are in the remote corners, right? Those are harder to find people to go do it. And then the other part of this is, and we'll get to this also when we talk about the last page of it about the frequently asked questions, is there's large sections of different parts of the coast that don't have good phone service, and trying to figure out how to do that is something that, again, GSM times 2. I know there was a show about this, and he's put together a great set of instructions, which I have linked, as well as a video, which is an excellent video about how to go find geocaches when you don't have, or not geocaches, but adventures when you don't have signal. And I've got that linked and as well. And those things are probably the biggest challenges, right? So making sure that people understand both how to, place them so that you can know where to hand them off in places where people could download the next adventure along the lab, which is a challenge, right? It's a lot easier to put in a handoff spot in a city and say, okay, or a town where there is actually signal here, and then, okay, maybe the next one isn't for 100 kilometers, but how are you going to get? There's no signal in between, right? So you're asking somebody who's going from one place to the other to have to drive back to get the next lab if you're going to put 2 labs in between there, right? So that's not really very, very good. So I think that's the ideal thing, is to try and find places where you can make those handoff places where there's signal in between. We weren't 100% successful in this. There's a couple of places where it's like, okay, you're going to have to drive back 5 or 6 miles to do that. But that's what it had to be, just for where it ended up breaking, where it would work. Sure. Fortunately, the Washington coast isn't as bad, I think, as some of the places. I know in the California coast, it's really bad in some of those areas. And I think, you'll find a similar challenge, I know, in some of the parts of the Trans-Canada Highway. It's just going to be difficult when there's no signal.
Yeah, exactly. Are all of these non-sequential?
Yeah, that's another absolute hard and fast rule when you're placing things like this. The last thing you want to do is make somebody go find things in an order when they're going the wrong direction, right? So all of these adventures must be non-sequential. That's a rule. Has to be one where you can go in either order, because you don't know where somebody's coming from. The expectation is that they can come from either order. Similarly, another thing is that because of that, you don't know, you can't start saying, okay, I will give, tips to a bonus cache all the way along. Bonus caches, you have to give the information essentially at 1 or 2 positions, and they have to be the ones that are right next to where the bonus cache is at, right? So that you're not going to send somebody to drive back, 20 miles the wrong direction. So
nice.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Ex-Huey driver actually this was kind of interesting. He ended up putting 2 bonus caches out. I'd never seen anybody do that before. That was a good idea. I thought, he's got 10 labs. He said, you know what, I'm going to put out 2 bonus caches, and so he did. So
good for him. Now, do you need any help with these labs, with these adventures? I mean, we've got a good pile of, we've at least got 1 listener. Let me be honest. We don't have 1 listener. Cliff, you're on tonight. So if somebody who happens to come across this wants to help, what should they do? How should they get a hold of you?
Well, at this point, I think we're mostly done. Like I said, we have the 3 labs that aren't yet published. 1 should be ready on Monday per Cool Geocachers. The Gear Guru said that he should have his done within a couple of weeks, and he said that a week ago. So hopefully that's not too far out. And there's just the 1 more that is not yet finished. And that's it. Otherwise, we're kind of rocking and rolling. What I need now more than anything else is for people to go find them, right, and enjoy them. and give us and give the creators some feedback if there's things that are going well or not. And I guess the other thing is to help publicize this. I think this is a great addition to the community, and I would like to have other people say, if they go out and try it and see it, and it's like, hey, this was a lot of fun, then let other people know. So.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Let's see. Bryling says minimum driving time to hit the general areas of the Wakas adventures is over 9 hours. So yeah, he's 2 to 3 day trip to do them all, assuming you start at one end.
Yeah.
And that assumes that you hit the ferry right. One of the other things that's on that resources page, or not the resources, the frequently asked questions page, has to do with all the parking passes and things like that, which in Washington State can be kind of confusing.
Very confusing. Yeah.
And so there are a couple of things. It's actually not as confusing as you might think. There's only really 2 different kinds. There's the kinds for state lands, which is the Discover Pass, right? Anything that's owned by the state is a Discover Pass. It doesn't matter whether it's a state park or if it's any other state land that they own out somewhere. If it's owned by the state, it's a Discover Pass. If it's owned by the federal government, it's not a Discover Pass. It's covered by typically the Northwest Forest Pass, which is or the America the Beautiful Pass, which actually covers the entire United States. The Northwest Forest Pass just covers Oregon and Washington, right? So. But that's the way that would typically work. So those are the typical ways to do that. And you will need those to be able to do that. One of the things I should say is that you're not allowed, the rules for adventures are that you're not allowed to take people into places where they have to pay to go in, but you are allowed to take them to places where they have to pay to park, right? So you can, that's why I say, parking passes like those are acceptable. But we couldn't take people inside Olympic National Park because you have to pay to go into the park. It's not about paying for your car to park there. It's about paying for access, right? So
national parks are yet another individual fee that you can't get a pass for, I believe.
The America the Beautiful is the pass to go into a national park.
It'll cover national parks and federal land?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that one, that's like, I think it's $80 a year is what I just spent for it. It depends. You can get it cheaper if you're a senior citizen or veteran or various other things. But it's that one would covers parking in the Forest Service lots as well. So, and the other thing is that Port Townsend to Keystone Ferry, depending on when you're going, you might want to consider getting reservations. Right, because that's one that doesn't necessarily. If you're going on a weekend in, say, August, it's going to be full, right?
Yeah.
So you can get reservations on that ferry. There's one of only a few ferries in Washington that you can actually get a reservation for, but that's one of them, right? So if you know what days you're going, that would be a good choice.
There you go. Always good planning. Cliff, thank you. This was fantastic. You shared great information. Now we're all excited. We got to go out and start hitting these. Hit the ones closest to you first, right? And then start planning trips as the days get a little longer. Maybe you can, get that down to 2 days if you're really ambitious. We can have some long days during the summer.
Yeah, you can. But
yeah, well, the days are the same length. It's just the daylight that's a little longer.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, if somebody had questions for you, wanted to get more details or information, where should we point them?
Probably the best way to get a hold of me is through geocaching messenger service. So that is the way to get a hold of me. I'm CRS98 through geocaching messenger service. That's, in terms of, responding to questions about this, that's easily the best way to do it. I'm partially active on the social media platforms. You can find me at Cliff Slaughterbeck at Instagram or Facebook, but mostly I lurk there rather than post. So
I can relate.
Nice. Thank you. And folks, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep, and I want to take a moment to thank Landsharks and Gold Country Geotourism, our corporate Denali level sponsors. Landsharks is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. Remember, they ship online orders daily. And for absolutely amazing geocaching adventures, check out exploregoldcountry.com. We want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters, Landsharks, Gold Country Geo Tour Team, Squirrel, Groovy Owl, and Cashly, the geocaching app. If you want to know more about supporting this show, click that Patreon link on the cashingnw.com, a website.
Like LG9000 did.
And Kid Vegas 19.
Wino, Seattle.
Sprouter.
CRS98. I've heard of him.
I hear he's
somewhere.
a really good guy.
Yeah, good guy.
The Geo Travelers.
Genies.
Kev MacD.
3 Hams and a Rose.
B Pendragon.
Wet Coaster.
Seebeck Tribe.
You talks to rocks.
You Dak.
On a Boat.
T Sayer.
Broncos fan for life.
The man who started this all, GSM times 2.
He's to blame, isn't he?
Yeah.
Limax.
Yeah.
Korsgat.
MC3 Cats.
Gas Station Tuna.
Just finding our way.
Logwork.
Fairwood West.
The Camp Clan.
The Geo Navpros.
VM Nerve.
Trixzer.
Alarobrick.
Keats 94.
Team Noltex.
Segehove.
Green Words.
Kennel Barb.
Boomer 365.
Acrodoc.
Donners.
Dick Maganet.
Peach of Washington, Nevada, anywhere in between.
Antaeus.
Dora Moore.
Kitty Quest.
Skyhawker.
RE 54321.
Blast off.
Subway Mark.
There you go.
Was that to me?
It was.
Good job.
Hey, no problem. Folks, thanks for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget that your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, click the Patreon link on the cashingnw.com website. And if you didn't like the show, let us know what you want us to talk about. In either case, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Subscribe. Give us a thumbs up or a review. You can also call in to 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask us a question, or buy us a Forest Pass or Discover Pass any time of the day or night, because we never know which one we need.
Yeah.
And of course, you can always email us. You need both of them, yeah.
Yeah.
You need a couple of rear view mirrors in your car. Get 3. You should be able to cover all the things you need. Of course, you can call us at 25. Did I say that? 253? Yes, I did. Well, I'm going to say it again. 253-693-TFTC or feedback@cashingnw.com. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show, and as you've seen tonight, even livelier chat. The show is produced by Chris Umfenauer and Jim Paulwitz and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2022 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, now I ask you to stay tuned for
The After Show.
I think I got through that pretty well tonight. I've had good times. I've had bad times. I just want to let you know it's read live each and every week.
Yeah, of all the times you've read that, tonight's one of them.
That's right. Okay. Oh, thanks, Brylang. I hope that was to me. I'm taking that.
That's under my picture.
Oh,
Oh.
I think there should be at least 10 thumbs up for this show, says
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There's
GSM
10 thumbs
times
up.
2.
There's at least 10. Or 2 in binary.
Oh,
All right. So
can you put 2 thumbs up?
Maybe. The Twin Thumbs Award.
Ooh. GSM times 2 wants to know what Chris did from 6:10 to 7 p.m. tonight. Well, at 6 o'clock, I was out getting my family dinner. It was such a rare thing to do, and I'll have to admit, it's, I don't know, 7:30, 7:45. I'm looking and going, yeah, well, I could go upstairs, put my pajamas on, and wait, today's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
Wait a minute. It's a different Thursday. I'm not sure what to do.
He was going through withdrawals is the short answer.
The first one's kind of like vacation. Yay! And next week now I'll be itching to do something at 6 o'clock.
Oh, good stuff. And there were comments galore that we didn't have a chance to get to all of them, but we appreciate every one of them. I liked a lot of the comments about what an amazing concept to have them all go public at the same time. That's a nice touch.
That was kind of fun, actually. I mean, once it was requested, we went live at 7 a.m., which, as most people were able to hit that. There was a couple of people who kind of forgot. It's like, oh, I forgot, and they were still up by 10. And there were one or two people who was like, okay, there's no way I'm going to get up at 7. I said, okay, go ahead, publish it the night before, right? At like, or 2 a.m. or whatever time you go to bed, which they did. The main thing was that the people who wanted to put out bonus caches, those were going live at 8. And so adventures have to be live ahead of that. So it was a little bit of a coordination job, but it actually worked out quite well.
I just realized I was this many years old. I was today years old when I figured out that you have to have the Adventure Lab owners submit those. You can't go to the local reviewer and say, hey, would you submit these all at 7 o'clock, or would you publish these? I just realized that now. Look at me.
So that was go ahead.
I was just going to say it wasn't as hard to figure out as what I was afraid it was going to be. I was thinking, oh well, because you can actually hit the go live button on your phone right now. It's not hard. You just have to do it. Right? So it's just that, right? You can be traveling as long as you're not actually up in the airplane, right? You can be somewhere else on the road. It's you could be at work, or you could be at home, just getting out of bed. All you have to do is just reach over and do that. It's just you got to do it. You have to be aware that that's the time. So.
Yeah, I was just going to make a correction on something I said earlier. So GSM times 2 has offered a correction. He said, actually, KC_11 started it all with the Lincoln Highway, and he deserves the credit. So thank you very much, GSM times 2, for correcting me. I always appreciate understanding things a little bit better.
And good to give credit where credit is due.
Indeed.
That's right.
And since we're in the after show, a non-topical related item that I think is important is to shout out Komakino, who is a certain number of years older today. So happy birthday, Komakino.
I think that certain number is 1. He's 1 year older.
Maybe.
Than he was yesterday.
That's what you think.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Komakino, actually.
You're making big assumptions, buddy.
Yeah, you're right.
I was going to say the whole concept of going public at the same time, GSM times 2, ever helpful, also had the helpful comment that I think, I'm just going to go out on a tangent here since it's the after show and say this applies to business meetings as well. Don't reward the procrastinators. Just start the meeting on time. If they're late, they're late. I could be channeling something else, but never mind.
Hey. Komakino says he's 1 year older than last year.
All right, so he's confirmed your theory.
Okay.
Right.
Whew.
He's only 1/365th of a year older than yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. This guy does math in his head.
Shocking.
So should we all sing happy birthday to Komakino?
Nope.
You're right.
Not on a live show. It never syncs up.
No. It's terrible. Terrible.
He's getting lots and lots of happy birthday wishes in the chat, so that's right. Awesome.
And a birthday cake.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. Well, it's digital cake, so it's got no calories, but all the flavor. Just lick the screen. Trust me.
Me likes cake.
All right.
Hashtag podcast baking.
There you go.
That's right. Oh, I like that. That's brilliant. We can all do hashtag podcast baking. With the cake emoji.
Just think what you might have started now. Guess we'll find out next podcast.
That's right. Oh boy. Oh boy. No carbs either. That's Komakino. Last I heard, Komakino was nearly done with the comic book. Ooh. He had a couple of pages to go. Last I heard was 4 pages. Now, I don't know how long a page takes because it would take me years, but he could probably crank one out, during a podcast episode. I think we can see
think that's possible. Yeah.
I've heard it being done. I've seen it being done. Very cool. What do you think? Did we lose Chris? He got very still and quiet.
Oh, maybe he's just really
I
quiet.
think you lost me.
Oh,
Oh,
your
we can
voice
hear
is
you.
coming through, but you're just holding very still in the video.
yeah.
Let's all just go.
I think it's amazing skill that he's developed here. It's quite
Practicing
entertaining.
for the zombie apocalypse so he can hide, right? Hiding
All right.
in plain sight.
Well, Cliff, it was very enjoyable to learn about the Washington Coast Adventure Series. Thank you so much for the work organizing it. We look forward to, in the future, coming down to travel and explore and enjoy that series. It's taking us through many and many of our favorite places to visit in Washington. So we very much look forward to that.
I'm glad to be here, and it was great to talk to you all, and I hope everybody has a good time go out and trying them.
Awesome. Not sure if Chris is going to wrap up the podcast because we can't get any kind of cues from him. Not sure what's going on there.
Take control, Land Monkey. It's all you.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to say to everybody, get out there and cache safely and cache often.